All right, let's pull back the curtain on the digital world. Today, we are going to walk through the entire journey of how the software you use every single day goes from a simple idea to a real, working app on your screen.
I mean, have you ever really thought about it? It can seem like magic, but it's actually a super structured, fascinating journey. So let's trace that path, from that first spark of an idea all the way to the finished product you can't live without.
So, first things first, you can't just sit down and start coding a huge, complex app. It just doesn't work that way. Just like building a house, you absolutely have to have a plan, a blueprint, before you even think about laying a single brick. And this right here shows you exactly why. I mean, think about it. If you're building a simple brick wall, yeah, you could probably just wing it. But a whole house? No way. You need architects, you need engineers, and you need a very, very detailed plan. It's the exact same for software. The more complex it gets, the more essential that formal engineered approach becomes.
So why go through all this trouble? Well, this whole engineering process exists to solve some really tough problems. Like, how do you make sure your app can handle 1 million users instead of just 10? That's scalability. How do you keep the project from spiraling over budget? And what about when users want new features? And most importantly, how do you make sure the final product is actually good? These are the big questions we have to answer.
Okay, so keeping those big challenges in mind, we move into the planning phase. This is where we stop talking about ideas and start drawing up the actual blueprints to give this thing some real structure.
And the industry standard for this is something called the Software Development Lifecycle, or SDLC for short. The best way to think of it is like a master roadmap. It's a guide that takes a project all the way from just a concept to its launch and, well, everything that comes after. It gives everyone a clear step-by-step path to follow. And the very first stop on that roadmap is requirement gathering. This is so crucial. It's where the team sits down with literally everyone involved, the client, potential users, you name it, to figure out exactly what this app needs to do. It's kind of like an architect interviewing a family about how many bedrooms they need or where they want the kitchen. You have to understand the needs before you can design the solution. So once you know what you want to build, the next huge question is, can you actually build it? That's system analysis. We're talking feasibility. Is it going to work financially? Do we have the right tech? What could go wrong? This is like checking the building site, making sure you have the budget, and looking into all the local zoning laws before you break ground on your dream house.
Now this is where the abstract ideas start to become a concrete technical plan. Software design is all about translating those requirements into a blueprint for the programmers. This includes stuff like data flow diagrams, which are basically the plumbing and electrical plans for the app, showing how all the information is going to move around. It's the final, detailed map the developers will follow.
Okay, the plans are approved, the foundation is solid. Now we get to shift from planning to actually building. It's finally time to write some code.
This is the phase that most people picture when they think about making software, right? The actual coding. Our construction workers, the developers, take those super detailed blueprints from the design phase and start building the real thing, line by line.
So you probably think that this part of the process is almost all coding, but how much time is really spent writing new stuff versus making sure it all works the way it's supposed to? 50%. Yeah, you heard that right. Some studies show that about half of the entire development process is just testing. And why so much? Because finding a tiny bug after the app is launched can be literally 100 times more expensive to fix than finding it right here. It's like having a home inspector on site every single day, checking every wire and every pipe as it gets installed. It's that important. So this whole construction phase is really a tight loop. You write some code, you test it like crazy to find any errors, and then you integrate it. And integration just means you're connecting all the different pieces of code together and making sure they play nicely with other systems, like databases. So the software is built, it's been tested, it's all integrated, we're ready for the big launch, right? Well, not so fast. The journey is not over yet. There's a whole life after the launch.
And that brings us to implementation and operations. You can think of this as move-in day. The software gets installed for the actual users, and the whole focus shifts from building it to making sure it runs smoothly, day in and day out, in the real world. Now that the app is out there in the wild, how do we actually judge if it's any good? To go back to our analogy, what's the real difference between software that's like a rickety old shed versus software that's a solid, well-built house? Well, quality software is usually judged across these 3 big areas.
First, there's operational. That's all about how it runs day to day. Is it easy to use? Is it secure? Then you've got transitional, which is about how adaptable it is. Can you move it to a new system? Can you reuse parts of it? And finally, maintenance, which is all about the future. Can it grow with more users? Can you update it easily?
And that last one is the real kicker. Here's the crucial point. Unlike a physical house, which pretty much stays the same, software lives in a digital world that is always changing. So good software isn't just built to last, it's built to evolve.
And you know, this quote just nails it. The whole process isn't really a one-time creation. It's what's called software evolution. From that very first day of planning, through every single update and patch, the software is constantly, continuously evolving.
Which leaves us with a really interesting final thought. The app on your phone, the program you're using right now, it's not actually a finished product. It's just the latest version in its ongoing evolution, which makes you wonder, what's it going to evolve into next? All right,